Hey guys, just making a short video because I can't get to my computer right now. I got finals today actually. So I worked half a day and then I ended up having to go back, drop off all the equipment for the online portion that we would do because we had to be doing the labs at home. It was really annoying. Really hate that kind of class, honestly. But anyways, so I was going to make a video basically explaining everything that goes on that happened between me and Dev, aka ShortFatOtaku, but I'll save that for a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. It was basically boiled down to about a year and a half ago. I had to look up the actual date of the live streams. But during the 2024 election with Trump, and Trump got indicted all those times, Dev went onto a live stream with Arch Warhammer, and I believe Sargon was there as well. I don't remember for sure. I haven't rewatched the streams, but I was trying to figure out which streams it was. Luckily, I took some screenshots around that time. Often I'll take screenshots of my own super chats just so I can keep track of like how much money I spent or whatever, or just so I'm aware of what point I was trying to make at one time. Unfortunately, there was a Discord page where I talked about it, and that would have helped me narrow it down a little bit. But they recently purged the chat, so everything, that was Arch's chat. They purged everything out of there. So only, like, the chat's log starts about a week ago. So everything was lost. And unfortunately, I didn't grab screenshots from those conversations back then. Although Dev never actually shows up in those chats anyways. People will at him all the time. And they'll ping him. And he'll just never answer. He never pays attention anymore. He's basically been run out of Arch's community altogether because a lot of people just absolutely despise him. But yeah, I was actually willing to debate him. So, a year and a half ago, on April 20th, I believe it was April 20th or April 21st, 420, there were two streams that I made a lot of super chats on. That was Arch's stream and that Yellow Flash's stream. And Deb was in both of them. Now, he was talking in the Arch stream, and he was just a guy like in the chat for Yellow Flash. And there were a lot of like conversations going on that we were talking about, and I was basically like sending chats for Dev, basically saying like, trying to make different points here or there, just like, hey Dev, you haven't thought about this, or you haven't thought about that. And during that conversation, eventually at some point I got so like fed up with like a lot of the stupid things he was saying that I challenged him to a debate. And during the stream, he actually agreed to it. Now, obviously I don't expect, like, I'm a small-time YouTuber. I have like 50 subscribers here, and I got 100 followers on Twitter. Obviously, I didn't expect him to actually accept. The fact that he did, though, was what was like, kind of like an exciting thing. But I was just like, let's go on. I'll debate you. I'll go in completely blind, and what I'll do is I will listen to you go through every single indictment, all the charges, and then you try to convince me that those charges are valid and that Trump is guilty. And then I'll do my best to debunk it. At that point, I did get frustrated, and I didn't actually expect him to accept the challenge, like, whatsoever. I was like, so I said something like, kind of along the lines, it's like, I will debate him and I will, like, debunk all of his stupid points. Something like that. It's just like, I wasn't being like mean about it. I was just like, oh my god, this is just so difficult to listen to. again, it's Arch's stream from April 20th, 2024. And in that chat, I'm the Commander 236. And I sent in a bunch of super chats. And during that day, I sent in about $250 worth of super chats. I just had like a bunch of money to spare. I'm a relatively well-off guy. And it wasn't a big deal for me. I just had a lot that I wanted to say in both of those chats. And again, not all of it was about Deb. A lot of it was just like other political topics or things completely unrelated. And Dev did agree, verbally. And then I was like, okay, cool. So, I think he then left the stream, and then I sent another super chat saying, okay, tell Deb that he can find me on Twitter X at Tower Commander, and for him to send me a DM. My DMs are always open. I will, and we can set up a time and a date and actually, get this done. And again, wasn't expecting anything. I was just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just do this. See if he is willing to do it. He said yes. And then when he did say yes, I was like, okay, here's the information. Get him in contact with me, and then we'll work something out. I'll come onto his stream, and then we'll have a short debate. I wasn't having anything to do with, like, him specifically. It was more like he was spreading a lot of misinformation, like literal misinformation about those court cases. And it was very clear that he was very ignorant on what was actually going on. And he just accepted them at face value. And it was just so bizarre to me, because the prosecution makes those with the intent of, prosecuting somebody and to have them thrown in jail. And him reading the charges was enough for him to decide that Trump was guilty. Like, yeah, the point of the charges is that the charge is supposed to say what the prosecutor thinks the guy is guilty of. The actual evidence isn't actually in the charges themselves. The evidence is shown afterwards. So it's like, how the hell were you even convinced by the charges? Just the charges. That doesn't even make sense, because you haven't even considered any of the actual evidence that they might have in the case. It's just basically what I was expecting is that even though I was going in completely blind, I knew generally what the charges actually were, but I hadn't read what the actual charges was and what the justification for pushing those charges was. Eventually I did learn enough about the cases to know that not only were they completely bunk, which was obvious from the start, but they literally had no evidence whatsoever. Absolutely none. It was just absolutely so stupid that they even attempted that. Because I can guarantee you that and the assassination attempt won Trump the election by a landslide. Because it was just so transparent that they were trying to rig it by making him seem to be guilty. Just absolutely ridiculous. And again, I had no issues with the fact that I had challenged him and that he accepted and he wasn't going to do it. The problem I have specifically is the fact that he accepted, then ignored me, and then said that, recently, that he has no idea who I am. Well, freaking duh. I gave you all my information. I told you where to find me. It's your fault you forgot who I am. I had everything. And if you just been look, listen, if he had just been oh, sorry, I can't do that, or, well, it's not that I don't want to debate, it's just whatever. God, my production quality is so crap right now. If he had just been oh yeah, sorry, no, I'm not gonna just debate a random dude, I would see it as punching down. If he had said something like that, I would have been okay, fine. I mean, if we had actually done the debate and I'd been able to like plug my channel, maybe I would have gotten anywhere from 10 to like 100 subscribers. Okay, so I would have gained a little bit of popularity, and that would have basically, if I had gotten 100 subscribers, that would have like tripled my subscriber count. But it wasn't even that. It was just like, I know for a fact that Dev has a lot of fans who are pretty like passionate. Let's just say that. They're very passionate about defending him. So I knew I was going to get dogpiled in the comments. Even if like a bunch of like Arches fans showed up, some of them I talked to on a regular basis. Even if like some of them had shown up, even if a bunch of like Dev like detractors had shown up, I knew that I would get absolutely dogpiled inside the chat no matter what happened, no matter how good my points were. But like, I didn't really care about that. I wasn't going for just like more subscribers. I was putting myself out there because I knew that as a small time guy, you have to kind of collaborate with other people, and you have to like put yourself out there and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, because I really do not like confrontation. I really do not like debates. I had never really had a real debate in my life. But I'm like, look, listen, in my own head, I'm thinking to myself, well, I think he's wrong. I know he's wrong. And based on my knowledge on the cases, based on my knowledge of history, based on my knowledge on just how the Democrats operate in general, that I think I can make a good argument that he is wrong. And maybe I'll be able to change some minds, and maybe I'll be able to get like a few people who will support me, and maybe like build up my reputation a little bit. Because you can't just go from 0 subscribers to 1 million. That's not how it works. You have to like take risk. You have to go out there. You have to risk being like completely and utterly ratioed. So I'm like, okay, let's just do this. And I'm like, oh my god, he actually agreed. Well, hot damn. Well, let's see if we can make something out of this. Let's see if, like, we can have a good conversation. And he just completely flaked out on it. And again, if he had, like, sent me a message being like, hey, look, listen, I know I agreed to this, but I'm not comfortable with it. I don't know what you're going to do on my channel or whatever. Or, like, I didn't realize that you only had 1,000 followers. Like, I can't give every single person who like challenges me like a spotlight, because then if I do it for you, I have to do it for everybody. If he had given me literally any excuse anywhere similar to that, I would have been like, fine. Instead, he just ghosted me. And eventually I just realized, like, this guy, he's just dumb. He's just real dumb. A lot of the points that he makes in a lot of his videos, it's just like, what is this dude on? He's like crazy. Like, he doesn't make any sense. It's just like all emotion. There's like no substance to any of it. And you can see that in his subscriber count too. I mean, he had around July of 2024, around his peak, he had about 200,000 subscribers. And he's lost about 20% of that. He's down to like 160,000. Just because like a lot of his takes for the last year since like the Trump indictments have just been so awful. And again, I think it was around July 2024 where he hit his peak. So I challenged him in April, a few months before that, and he again completely flaked. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So when I heard about the Ace situation, basically Dev came out and he said, hey, all my detractors, I'm going to have an open chat. I'm going to allow anyone to come in, and I'm going to allow them to debate me no matter what the topic is, and I'm going to do it completely blind. And he basically set it up so anyone can come into his chat and have a conversation with him, and they would go from there. And he was like, oh, nobody decided to do it. One, not everyone has a microphone, for one. Like, a lot of people that were in the chat may have been at work or they were doing other things and they didn't have the opportunity to do it. I mean, you do this at exactly the last minute. Like, not everybody is going to be able to, like, just jump onto a computer, set up, like, a stream, or set up their camera and everything and their microphone and, like, have a conversation on the spot. And even then, a lot of people are just like, look, listen, you're an idiot. That we're just telling you you're an idiot. We don't need to tell you with our voice out loud that you're an idiot. It's like, okay, whatever. And then he was like, okay, they're cowards because they didn't come into the chat and have a discussion with them. It's like, well, maybe they're not cowards. Maybe some of them are trolls. Like, not everybody who doesn't want to speak out loud is a coward. Some of them just might be trolls, or some of them just might be like, look, listen, we have nothing to talk about. I just want to tell you that you're stupid. Like, all I would do in a conversation is that we would spend like 20 minutes yelling at each other. I'm just going to leave a comment here saying you're dumb and leave it at that. Okay? It's not a goddamn rocket science. But he said that all his detractors are cowards because they didn't come and debate him in person. And then he specifically says all of the, like, Ace fans, like the Ace 1918 fans, implying that Ace himself and his fans were cowards because they didn't come debate him, even though Ace had been at work at that time. Now, Dev didn't know that, but he just said that, oh, they're all cowards because they didn't show up. Well, you did this, like, kind of at the last minute, it sounds like. Dev? Like, you set this up last minute and then just expected people to just randomly pop into your chat to come debate you. Like, other people have lives. Other people have jobs. Other people have things that they have to do. Like, they can't just jump on a stream at any time. That's not how it works, bro. Not everyone is terminally online watching your stream. It's not like every single person who doesn't like you watches your stream. A lot of them outright avoid watching you because they think you're an idiot. Because duh. And a lot of them think that it's absolutely pointless to debate you because you call them a coward for not showing that up on a last-minute debate. And I don't want to debate you either because I challenged you to one, knowing that you had been spreading misinformation, literal misinformation, to your fans. And I had, like, and you just ignored me. So it's like, why should I even bother? I hadn't even heard of this. I hadn't even heard of, like, this debate challenge you supposedly made. So, you call Ace a coward, and his fans a coward, which technically includes me, I suppose. I give Ace, like, $1 a month. I'm a patron of a lot of people. I give a lot of money to a lot of people. Arch, for example, I give him, like, $35 a month. $30 on Patreon and, like, $5 on YouTube. And I just got the money to spend sometimes, okay? I'm very good at saving money. And I can afford, like, the $100 in patron money that I give every month. Just the way it works. It's not $100. It's like more like, it's like $50 now. I canceled a bunch of them. Anyways, well, Ace is like, okay, you called me a coward. So Ace sets up a stream 25 hours at a time. He does the same exact thing that Dev does. He tells Dev, he has, like, everybody in his chat to go to Dev's channel, to go to Dev's streams, to go to Dev's Twitter profile, and send him a message saying, hey, our Ace wants to debate you at this time tomorrow, and you called people a coward for not showing up to your debate, so if you don't show up to his debate, by your own standards, you're a coward. And we all knew that Dev probably wouldn't show up, even though we knew he would be available to do it. And be granted, he did know about the debate. He acknowledged it in a different chat while the stream was going on. He was arguing with Ace's fans in a different stream's chat while Ace was streaming and challenging him to a debate. So by Dev's own standards, he's a coward. Now, do we actually think he's a coward? Well, yes, we do. But what he really is he's a hypocrite. Because he accepted a debate with me, then backed out of it, without ever contacting me, despite knowing my information. It was given to him. He agreed to it. You can hear him agree to it in the April 20th stream that Arch Warhammer did. And it was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. It was like a tentative thing. But he still agreed tentatively to do it. And he'd never contacted me. And then he technically agreed to debate Ace because he said he would debate any of his detractors. Any of them. And then he calls Ace and all his fans cowards for not showing up to a debate. And Ace has to make the point. It's like, hey, you called me out specifically. I couldn't be there because I was at my job. So let's try this again. I will set up my own stream and you can come challenge me. And if you don't come, you're also a coward by your own standards. And apparently Dev is too stupid to understand the logic there. And he's been arguing with me about it for like the past 3 days. Actually, no, he hasn't, because he just said I lied, gave a bunch of BS points that didn't like cover anything that I said. And then his other thing that he said is that he doesn't know who I am. And I've been like basically having a conversation with his fans instead of him. That's why this guy is ridiculous. It's like, it's absolutely pointless. He would just let his fans do all the arguing for him. He would just give up. He won't engage. But, like, it's either you don't engage at all, or you follow through. You follow the conversation to the end point. And I made a bunch of points in that Twitter thread that he just completely ignores. That's why no one likes this guy. That's why a lot of people, I mean, he's got 160,000, subscribers. So there are people who like him. But there's a reason why a lot of people dislike him. Because he makes all of these, like, boasts, and he's like, yeah, I'll challenge anybody at any time. And then he would accept a debate and then not do it. And then call people cowards because they didn't show up to a debate that he didn't tell anybody about until the last minute. Dev is just completely worthless. He is not worth engaging in a debate. I think people should be allowed to make videos criticizing him and debunking all his points. But talking to the guy directly, it's just completely pointless. Because he will just completely forget who you are. Like he forgot about me. Like he completely forgot about me. Either say, like, you don't say, yeah, sure, I'll debate you, and then not contact the guy to be like, sorry, man, I changed my mind. All he had to do was be like, okay, some random dude just challenged me to debate. Sorry, man, I can't do that because if I debated every single person that challenged me, I would never be able to sleep. Like, I'll just have to be streaming 24/7 all day, every day. And trust me, if if Dev actually had to debate every one of his detractors, he would have to, like, debate for, like, 28 hours every day. And yes, I know there's 24 hours in a day. I'm just saying, he has so many detractors that to talk to each and every one of them for as long as they had points to make without, just devolving into like calling him names or something, if he would not have enough hours in the day to actually like debate all his detractors, it would be impossible for him to do it because there are just so many people. And he's so frustrating, and he's just so vitriolic and toxic that people, they hear about him and they're just like, please shut up. I don't even want to hear about that guy, because he's so dumb that it hurts people's heads. A year and a half ago, our debate would have been calm, relaxed, and fine. Nowadays, if I had to spend like an hour talking to him, I would probably bash my head against a wall. I am not even kidding. He is just so ridiculous. It would be like trying to debate, I was going to say like a lemming. It would be trying to like debate a blobfish. And it's not like a frickin' jab at his weight or anything. I mean, the guy needs to do more push-ups, but push-ups doesn't make you a better debater. Oh, God. Anyways, I'm done talking about this guy. Maybe I'll make one more video kind of explaining, like, why, like, all this is so dumb. I mean, again, Your Majesty, Dev, the king of the world, he's so high and mighty that he can't even remember the people that he challenged directly to a debate. Just ridiculous. It's just so stupid. It's just, whatever. This guy's not worth the time or energy. I would be surprised if he's actually made a third comment on my post. I would be surprised. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he actually does address some of my points. But he didn't, address anything I actually said. And he ignored all the comments I made to his fans, explaining the situation in detail. Because I outlined this whole situation in detail in the comment thread. And he hasn't, I doubt he's addressed anything. And granted, I at him, so I started the conversation, but he didn't have to answer. He could have just ignored it. Instead, he did answer, and it was a complete non-answer. He didn't explain anything. And then he insulted me. So yeah, there's a reason why people don't like this guy. He's a very unlikable person. So yeah, I don't think he's worth the time. That was the point I was trying to make the ace. And I don't think I didn't make the point as well as I wanted to. Let's just say that, okay? Because, dear Lord. Anyways, I'm just going in circles at this point, so I'm going to leave it there. And I'll publish this tomorrow or something like that. I got a finals today. So, that's all for now, guys. Bye.